You're running out of excuses. A few years ago, you could blame a lack of gear on why your guitar tone is not satisfactory, but those days are coming to an end. More on that in a little bit. So some of my friends have been asking me about this new JST Toneforge Disruptor plugin, and I figured it'd probably just be easiest if I just made a quick little video about it. So here I am. Full transparency, while this is not a sponsored video, I did get the plugin for free because I was part of the team kind of helping with the beta testing, and I helped out a little bit on the latter days of the project. So my name is in here. I have some presets and stuff. So I can't really say that I am impartial. I'm also a huge Fear Factory fan going all the way back to like 1996 or something like that. So it's impossible for me to be completely unbiased or impartial with my opinions on this plugin. I think it fucking kicks ass. Spoiler alert. Do with that knowledge what thou wilt. Okay, so first, you're probably wondering how does it sound? It kind of sounds like this. If you want to hear it like a song, it kind of sounds like this. Okay, so onto the features. I'm not going to show you everything in detail or like how to work the thing because you can just get the demo and try it out, read the manual and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to go over some of the cool features that I dig about this thing that you might not realize are part of this plugin yet. The main thing I really like about Disruptor is that it's basically everything you need in a guitar chain in one plugin. There's been a lot of plugins coming out lately that are like, you know, basically mix ready, you know, right out of the box, and they're fucking awesome. I think that's fucking great. Where this thing kind of shines is that it's like, it can do all that. It can be like your one-stop shop, but it's also like you can go really deep into tweaking if you want to, you know, kind of make your own tone. It goes deep. I mean, like, so first and foremost, I really like this DI match feature, which is like one of the main things that sets this plugin apart from literally everything else. Basically, this lets you take the character of another guitar and apply it to your guitar that you're playing at the moment. Another cool thing here is this active pickup circuit. So normally you would, you know, this comes by default about here at 0 on the input. If you fucking turn this thing on, you can simulate active electronics with a little clipping stage that most like EMGs and stuff will kind of impart on your DI naturally. So if you turn this up, you'll actually see some clipping happening on this knob here. And I like to balance that with this input, and then that way I can boost the signal and then like balance that active circuit boost with the actual input. Then I can kind of simulate that a little bit more saturated sound from like an active pickup guitar. I used to really want to get new pickups for this guitar because it's just, I don't know, it's just a little dull and dark a little bit for my taste, but this feature right here kind of like, maybe I don't need to fucking get new pickups anymore, because I mean, this is basically what I was trying to get with new pickups, so here it is. So when I turn this on, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I might not have to buy new pickups now because that's cool as fuck. I mean, I don't want to be like super stylish with my new fancy pickups, but I like money too. So, all right, next thing. Yeah, since we're talking about features that happen before the amps, I'm just gonna, you know, I figure I should mention this. You know, there is a pedal board here. You can add chorus delay, lo-fi, overdrive, or reverb. And yeah, most people will be like, oh, I always put a fucking overdrive pedal in front of my amp just because I read it somewhere and then it sounded cool, so now I just do it automatically. Get that fucking thing. You don't have to. I mean, if you're using it for some like leads or whatever, that's cool, but like this is why this plugin is cool, is because you don't have to do that. That's like some kind of old-fashioned shit, you know. That's the goal of the overdrive pedal was to do what this stuff is doing. Basically, you're boosting it, and then you're tightening up at the low end here, which like you've got all these variables. You're not just stuck with whatever the overdrive is doing to your low end. So this is awesome. So I mean, throw an overdrive pedal on there if you want, but you don't need it. This might actually be my favorite, my ultimate favorite feature. And that's this mode thing here. What do they call it? Let me look at my notes. Oh, they call it the string and tuning optimization modes. I just kind of call it the low end tightener. Joey explained this over the phone to me one time, and it kind of just went over my head. But from what I gather, this okay, so originally the JCM 800 was designed in like the fucking 80s or something for 6-string guitars. You know what music sounded like back then. So this basically restructures all of the internal components of the amp, like, you know, the capacitors and resistors and whatever the fuck, all that magical shit that happens on the inside. This reconfigures all of that to optimize it for whatever, if you're playing a 7-string or 8-string, and what tuning you're in, which is really fucking cool. In practical terms, I'm just kind of a practical guy. I don't really care about, you know, if I'm accurate on this. Like, technically, this is where I should be. I'm playing an 8-string, and the bottom string is in F sharp. But I like to just play around with this because sometimes you might find another note, and like, you usually want to do this like in the context of a mix, because this, like, you'll just feel everything just kind of tighten up, and you won't even hear this at all if you're not listening on headphones. But if you listen to the low end, like, these have different. That one's pretty dramatic. If you can't hear that, then. So I suck at guitar, if you haven't already noticed that, but, you know, hey, whatever, I'm having fun. So I like to fuck with this. This is just like the low end tightener for me anyway. And sometimes you'll just find a setting that's just like, dude, that right there, that's the low end, fucking locks in, and it sounds fucking great. Now we get to the amps. So we've got 3 different amps. Martyr is for cleans and mild overdrive. Replica is like for, you know, your main rhythms and stuff. And Protomech is like kind of considered a lead amp, but, you know, there's no rules. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Protomech has 5 different modes. So while there's technically only 3 amps, like, there's quite a few different sounds in here. So Martyr, this is your clean sound. I don't really fuck with cleans a whole lot because, like, why would I do that? But it sounds cool, you know, like, I've got a fucking preset somewhere. We'll just go. There's cleans. You can also dirty this fucking thing up. It's got a compressor, which is nice. You can control the dynamics a little bit. You got a bright. Click, bitch. And they've got this burn thing that kind of gives you a little bit more gain. If you want it. Replica, this is my fucking favorite. So this one, one of my other favorite features of this fucking plugin is this gain situation that we've got going on here. So normally you just have one gain knob, and that's kind of what this devour knob is for, but you also have low frequency gain and high frequency gain. And this is just cool because you can, like, kind of saturate your tone in different ways. So it still sounds, you know, pretty gainy, but you'll notice that the low end is not quite as saturated. Turn them both. Turn up the low gain. You can see how kind of this is pretty versatile. This is just the gain section that we're fucking with here. Like, normally you just have one knob. You just have this guy, but this, like, really lets you shape your your tone before. I mean, you're not even hitting the fucking EQ on the amp yet. So yeah, I think that's fucking cool. You got your regular fucking EQ controls and stuff. This is cool. You can switch to solid state if you're into that kind of sound. So if you want more, maybe like some early Meshuggah tones or like some death type stuff, you got some options here. Your high and low input. All right, there's that. Then third amp, you got Protomech. So this one actually has tones that were captured by, these are actual Dino fucking tones from albums and stuff. Lots of cool sounds in here. This is still my favorite though. All right, moving on. We've got the cab situation here. This is, you know, you've seen stuff like this before. I will point out that I have yet to feel the need to reach for an external IR, so that's cool. They did a really good job capturing these. You've got different cabs. So yeah, you can load your own external IRs if you want. This is a cool feature. Let me switch to single. So this bypasses everything but this part, I do believe. So if you want to fuck with your DI and do all this cool DI match shit, but you want to use a different amp sim, you can fucking do it. You just set this to that and then boop sky out. All right, and then we have the post effects. They're the same effects. You got chorus, delay, overdrive. You've got lo-fi. You've got a rotary speaker mode on the chorus. So this shit's all really cool. And then this part's really fucking cool. So this is the EQ section. You've seen other plugins like Big Whoop. It's a fucking EQ. But this has got a dynamic EQ, which is the first that I've not seen this on another plugin. And dynamic EQ is awesome because you can help control those fucking palm mute. Oh, hold on, dude. Palm mute, bloom, and stuff. Let's see if we get this going. So yeah, that's set too high, but you could see how useful that could be for controlling that low end bloom. All right, then we've got this analog EQ. You don't have to choose between it. These are both separate EQs. So you can kind of do all of your sculpting with the digital EQ and then kind of come around the backside with the fucking analog EQ and then kind of shape it up a little bit. And then the other thing with this digital EQ is you got this kill resonances mode, which kind of helps you kill annoying frequencies, common annoying frequencies in a guitar. There it is. Okay, the last section of the plugin is the autonomous dynamic system. Doesn't look like I'm really using much of it on this preset, but this is basically like a multi-band compressor that lets you clamp down on the palm mutes, kind of like that Andy Sneap C4 trick. I don't have a whole lot of low end on this preset, so I don't need a whole lot of that, but there it is. And then we've got this limiter, which kind of gives you a little bit more like broadband dynamics control. You can kind of balance this with the output knob here. Go, let's see where I'm at. 14. Trying to level match this as much as I can so I don't blast anybody's ears out. So yeah, we've got this limiter here. It's not going to go any louder than that. Obviously, that's way too much. 10. So cool. Yeah, somewhere in there we've got like some little bit of dynamic, little extra dynamics control. It's to catch those extra peaks or whatever and keep them from blowing up your the next thing in your chain. In my case, that would be the master bus, because you don't really need anything else after this fucking plugin. That's why it's fucking rad. There's some other stuff, like if you use this live, you can put different presets in here. I don't play live, so I have not fucked with that. There's a standalone mode. I mentioned earlier that guitar players are running out of excuses for why they have shitty guitar tone, or at least guitar tone that they're not satisfied with. Up until recently, you had to not only be a decent guitarist to get good tones in your mixes, but also a decent engineer. You had to not only know how to dial in an amp, but also how to process that sound in the context of a mix. Recently, we've seen really cool plugins coming out that basically remove all of the engineering and the technical aspects from getting a good guitar sound, and basically it just leaves everything in your fucking hands, literally. It's basically all about the technique now. I made a guide for helping guitarists get better tones in their recordings, so if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description. As long as your guitar is in good working condition and you're properly recording the signal from it, your playing style, technique, and choice of picks and strings are literally the only limiting factors remaining between you and good guitar tone. Toneforge Disruptor, in my opinion, falls into this realm of mix-ready plugins that remove any excuses for shitty tone, but it also lets you go much deeper if you're into crafting your own sounds. One possible drawback to this plugin is if you're just not really into the Marshall sound and you're more of a Mesa or a 5150 guy, this might not be as cool of a plugin for you as it might be for others. This particular plugin was a collaboration between JST and Dino Cazares of Fear Factory, and the Marshall sound is kind of a foundation of Dino's guitar tone. If you're not really into that sound, then you're probably not even watching this video. So, from what I understand, Disruptor is just the first of a new format for Toneforge plugins, and I'm excited to see more amps modeled in the same way and given the same features. I'd love to see a 5150 or a dual rectifier amp model with the same functionality at some point. That'd be fucking awesome. If you have any other questions about this plugin, just ask them in the comments and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I highly encourage you to check out the demo of this plugin so you can try it out for yourself and see if you fucking like it. I like it. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful and I will see you next time. See ya!
When you drop your next record with Greg Fender Audio, make sure no one is standing under it.